So we've been talking about a few different games on this channel, but one game that I have been absolutely addicted to is Oblivion Remastered. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And a lot of people are obviously thinking, well, Oblivion Remastered, that's just Oblivion. And you are 100% right in that sentiment. But for me personally, when I last played Oblivion was when I was like 8 years old, maybe 9 years old. And honestly, I can say that's why I love playing Oblivion Remastered so much, is because when I played when I was very, very young, there wasn't really a benefit to playing, right? Like I would come home, I'd play for like maybe 30 minutes, and then I would go outside and hang out with my friends or skateboard or whatever it was. So I never really did anything in the game. I never completed the Mages Guild. I never completed the Dark Brotherhood, never completed the Thieves Guild, never completed the Arena. There was just so many things I never did. The only thing I actually ever did in the main game, in the original, I should say, was become Shago Wrath because I don't know what it was. Something in my tiny maniac brain just loved being the god of chaos. So that's the only thing I really completed. So with this remastered, it is just incredibly fun. Not only did they fix a lot of like the beginning of the game glitches that in my opinion were a little too overpowered, but there's also new glitches that just work better. And it feels like they're not really glitches, but it feels more as if they've directly put them into the game so that way they could satisfy people. Where the old glitches was like, okay, yeah, you have to like do this broken thing, save your game, stop, save, load, paralyze, save. Like there was so many steps behind doing a glitch back in the day that they were pretty difficult to do, but they were insanely overpowered. With that being said, man, I just love this game. Now, I will say that on computer personally, it is a little rough to play at times. Me and my brother are both playing it, and his game, the first couple days, was like a stat up motion picture. You would just see as it like slowly loaded in, so we had to go into his settings and turn a bunch of stuff off, and it wasn't even his computer. For some reason on PC, at least for me and my brother, if you put it on full screen mode the game just shatters, but the second you put it on like windowed, it's chilling, or borderless, it is chilling. It makes zero sense in the slightest. Something else that is pretty annoying, honestly. Like a lot of the bugged quests are still bugged. They haven't fixed the bug quest, but then they fix like the duplication bug that everybody used originally in the game. You know, the one where you like drop a scroll and if you grab it at like a certain time, you can like drag it across your screen and like it'll like make millions of these scrolls. Yeah, they just took that out completely, but there's a new duping bug that everybody's using in the first place. But with that being said, obviously there's stuff that's just super annoying, right? So, like, there's glitched quest where you'll be doing this quest line, and because you took a key before the game told you to take a key, then now you have to completely reload. And if you didn't save in the last little bit, you just kind of end up quitting. And I think that's something that kind of is just terrible about the game at this point in time. Is I imagine there's a lot of people who don't get to experience how beautiful the game is because they get stuck behind a bug or a certain glitch or something like that. For example, if you do a lot of the Fighters Guild quests and the Mages Guild quests, you will meet this vampire lord guy, and you have to meet him like at midnight, and he does not like showing up at midnight in the slightest. Like, I mean, in his own castle, he hates showing up at midnight. So sometimes you gotta wait like multiple days, or sometimes he just won't come at all. And it's pretty annoying, but it's still pretty cool at the end of the day. Completing the Mages Guild and like learning the lore behind that, and actually getting to the point where it feels like an accomplishment instead of like just having my dad do the entire campaign for me because I didn't know what was going on, or doing the Fighters Guild and getting just the most cringe ending possible. Like the chick that runs the Fighters Guild just absolutely despises your character for like no reason, and then ends up demoting you because you try to like expose a weird group, and then you defeat that group, and then she's like, "Oh, I guess I'll make you the leader." Like, it's so weird. It's like the HR department came up to her and was like, "Young lady, we heard what you've been doing to this young whippersnapper. The hero of Kavat should be respected." So it is a little weird in that remark. Personally, I have not done the Thieves Guild yet. The Thieves Guild just confuses me. I don't even know where to really start with the Thieves Guild, but I did finish the Dark Brotherhood. I kind of forgot that the Dark Brotherhood is like that crazy of a story. Like, when you're about to finish it and you are like, oh, all these cool people, and then all of a sudden your mission is to like gank every single person that is supposed to be your friend up until this point. I feel like they could have made the story a way better in Dark Brotherhood, because if you play Skyrim, like, obviously the Dark Brotherhood story is a little bit better in that one, especially because I don't believe you meet the Night Mother at all. Like, at least I don't remember meeting the Night Mother in Oblivion, where in Skyrim you do meet the Night Mother and you kind of get the full story behind it. And it's kind of one of those things where the more you play Oblivion and the more you've played Skyrim, the more Skyrim feels like the end of like all the games. I think everybody at this point could be really hyped up for an Elder Scrolls 6, but I think at the same time Skyrim did a really good job at kind of closing the chapter on a lot of loose ends, I guess you could say, on the history behind the Tamriel. One thing that I do want to say is, like, people have been saying, man, it'd be cool to get a Black Marsh for an Elder Scrolls 6. In particular, people want to play Black Marsh in the time of Oblivion. I just kind of disagree with that personally. Because if you don't know, basically Black Marsh is the home of the Argonians, and when the Oblivion Gates started to open once again, the Hist, basically this massive tree that gives Argonians juiced up steroids, essentially called all of them back to Black Marsh, and most of them ended up returning. That's why we don't see a lot of Argonians in the game. We do see a lot, but we could see way more if the Hist didn't call them back. And when they arrive back, they essentially storm the gates of Oblivion. Like, they rush in. The Oblivion gate opens up, and they sprint in, and they force the Oblivion gates to close like within a month. It's crazy, the lore behind it. You should definitely go check it out if you haven't checked it out before. But yeah, Oblivion Remastered is just a really good game. I will say the character creation is a little wacky. I'm not the biggest fan of it. You get stuff like this, where it's just like ultra realistic, and I don't know how to feel about ultra realism in fantasy in the slightest. Because when I used to play this, I loved playing three races in particular. I would always play a wood elf, an orc, or an Argonian, and that's when they really had that hardcore fantasy vibe. But like now, with the like kind of not like ultra realistic but very realistic graphics, it just does something where it makes them look so weird. Like, it literally feels like you're playing kind of AI generated stuff at some points in time, and it's just so wacky. And I'm not the hugest fan of like the AI look, in my personal opinion. But overall, game is really good, especially with the new memes that have come out with all of the skooma and the speed buffs and the glitches. Like, there's just so many uh there's so many like little things in the game that just make it very fun. If you haven't played Oblivion before, I definitely would play Oblivion Remastered. One tip I would say though is, if there is a quest where you're going to have to grab something, make sure you do a quick save right beforehand, just in case it bugs out. Besides that, that's all I really wanted to rant about today, was my experience playing Oblivion and how much fun I really think it is. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and have a wonderful night. Peace.